Welcome. Thanks so much for joining me for this self-massage video. In today's practice, I'm going to be showing you a few stretches as well as some self-massage techniques to relieve tension and pain in your neck, shoulders, arms, and hands. Now, of course, we all love to go get a massage from someone else, but there is still a lot of benefit to massaging yourself. So go ahead and get comfortable in a nice easy seat, and we can jump in to these simple self-massage techniques. So just starting in a nice easy seat, we're going to start opening up the hands and the forearms. So reach your left arm out in front of you. Then flex your fingers down towards the floor and wrap the right hand around those left fingers and start to pull back. Stretch your left arm as straight as you can to really maximize the stretch across the underside of your forearm and down into the hand. Breathe into that stretch, letting yourself work your way into that sensation. And from here, bend into your left elbow, keeping the palm flexed open. Then pull down with the right fingertips, accentuating the stretch along your wrist and the inner palm. Maybe you can even stretch that left thumb a little bit wider, giving you even more stretch. Then gently release and flip your left palm towards the earth. Place your right hand on top and gently begin to press down. Not too hard, it's nice and easy. Gently pressing down, stretching the top of your wrist. Now let's go ahead and release and just shake it out a little bit. Then wrap that left hand around to the top of your right shoulder. So we're going to start with a little self-massage technique here, a little bit of some traction pulling. So we'll start out towards the edge of your shoulder. You want to hook your fingertips into the soft muscle tissue and just pull forward so you feel a stretch. Then we're going to repeat that same action, moving a little higher up your shoulder. Hook your fingers into that dense muscle tissue, then pull your elbow forwards, stretch. Continuing that movement, going up along the top of your shoulder, and we're going to take it all the way into the neck. Hooking your fingers into those tight muscles along the right side of your neck and pulling forward. So you'll actually start to feel your head and neck getting a little rotation as you manually move the muscles with that left hand. Then we can work our way back down. Working back down towards the shoulder, just taking it a little at a time, right? So you may notice that your left hand is getting a little bit tired. But that's okay. You'll get more comfortable with it the more you practice. We're just working on squeezing and stretching those muscles along the top of the shoulder and your neck. And let's shake out that left hand one more time, giving it a little bit of a break. Then here we're going to reach that left hand to the outside of your shoulder and just give it a little squeeze down your arm. Like kneading a piece of dough, just squeezing all the way down to your right wrist. And let's reach the right arm out in front of you. Flex your right fingers to the floor and reach that left hand across. Grabbing a hold of your fingers, we pull back. Stretching the right arm straight, we open up the underside of the forearm and into the palm of your hand. Taking some deep breaths as you stretch it open. And go ahead and bend that right elbow, keeping your palm flexed open, pressing down with your left fingers, we open up the palm. Maybe you can even stretch your thumb wide, but it takes a little extra work. Then we'll gently release and flip your right palm down, bringing your left hand up and over. Press gently down, stretching across the top of your wrist. Maybe even getting a stretch down the length of your forearm. We stretch, stretch, stretch. And gently release. Let's shake out that right hand and wrap your hand across to the edge of your shoulder. Hooking those fingers in, we pull forward and just trace that line up your shoulder towards your neck. Working slow and steady as you go. So we hook the fingers in and pull forward. So we actually are stretching the muscles and the fascia. So it's a really good assisted stretch. So this is how you can massage yourself, get the same benefits, and sometimes even better, because you know how much pressure to use, you know exactly where the pain points are. Someone else may not always be able to perceive that. Let's shake out that right hand, then we're going to just squeeze and knead the muscle tissue down the left arm. Squeezing. Try to let the left arm relax, so we want the muscles to be really soft and pliable as you squeeze all the way down to your left wrist. Now let's interlace your fingers in front of you. Bring the palms together. We're going to roll the wrists in a figure 8. So again, this is a great mobility exercise that helps to lubricate the joints, bringing more circulation and blood flow into the hands and wrists. Now, brain teaser. See if you can roll your wrists the other way. It's going to feel a little awkward, a little uncomfortable, but it's good to exercise the nervous system. All right, then from here we'll release that grip and shake it out. Now I'm going to show you another technique to massage out your forearms. So especially if you have carpal tunnel or just tension in the hands and wrists, this is an excellent self-massage technique. Now you could do this sitting at a table or sitting on the floor. I like to come up onto my knees because I feel like it gives me a little bit more leverage. So I'm going to start working on my left arm. I'm going to bring that arm down onto the floor with my palm facing up. So this gives me exposure along the underside of the forearm where the bulk of our forearm muscles reside, on that underside of the arm. So you're going to bring your right forearm across like you're making a 90-degree angle, or like you're making a cross with your arms. Then just like opening a doorknob, you're going to use that right forearm, rolling your forearm, or like rolling the arm bone across your left forearm. So you place the right arm, then open the doorknob, rotating the right arm bone along the inside of your left forearm. Then you trace that step down to your wrist, then start to make your way back up. So we twist the doorknob, move up the arm, twist the doorknob, move up the arm. So we move in a very systematic way. Now, once you've rolled out your forearm a few times, you can go ahead and come in with your elbow. Start to press your elbow right down the center of that forearm, using a nice steady pressure, gently pressing down into the forearm. And you may very well come across some pretty spicy places, some tight areas in that forearm. So give yourself an opportunity to kind of explore around. You know, if there's an area that feels really juicy or anything that feels really tight, give yourself an opportunity to spend a little extra time there, really working to break up those knots and break up those areas of tension. Then after you're satisfied working the forearm, you can actually bring that right elbow right into your hand. So you bring the elbow into the palm of your hand. And this little action I call chopping wood. So as you bring the elbow into the palm of your hand, you start to chop wood with the right arm. And you'll notice that action in the elbow gives you sort of that massaging sensation right into the palm of your hand. So you can move your elbow around into different areas in your left palm, especially if you know that there's some tight places, right? So we get in there and chop the wood. And once you've worked the underside of the forearm, you can go ahead and flip your hand over. So we bring exposure to the top of the forearm. So here, I like to bring my elbow across. So I'm actually contacting with this kind of underside of my elbow, not the pointy side. So I come in here, and again, you can chop wood and pull back. So you can't necessarily see, but I'm pulling back with my elbow in this direction. So I place the elbow, chop the wood, and pull back. And you're gonna feel it, okay? So we trace that motion down the arm. Place your elbow, chop the wood, pull it back. Oh yes, getting into all of those muscle attachments along the bones. You can work your way up and down, and especially give yourself some time to hang out if you notice that it's very tight. And after you chop the wood a few times, we can roll out the top of your forearm all the way down to your wrist. And from there, you should be feeling pretty fluid. A lot of energy moving down the arm. I even notice a little bit of like pink, suggesting more blood flow. So let's try the second side. So we'll bring that right forearm down onto the mat, and we start by crossing the left forearm over. Then we start with opening the door. We twist the doorknob, rolling your left forearm across your right forearm. And place it in a new spot and roll it out. Working your way down to the wrist and back up to your elbow. And once you've rolled it out, we'll move into the elbow press. So we press your elbow down, right down the center line of the forearm. So we have two bones that run parallel to each other down the lower part of your arm. And there is a nice thick band of muscles that lie between those two bones. So as you work your elbow down that central channel, we get to work into those muscles and attachments right between the two bones. So taking your time, breathe into it. It can be a little tender sometimes, you guys. And once you work the forearm, we can come down into the palm of your hand, bringing that elbow right into your palm. We chop the wood. You don't have to go too fast. You'll feel it right away. And you can determine how much you lean into that left elbow, how much weight, how much pressure you apply. So this is, again, one of the benefits of self-massage, is that you get to regulate the pressure, so you can give yourself just as much pressure as you need to get right into the sweet spots. Okay, then once you work your hand, we can flip your palm to the floor or down onto your desk. And now we can work the top of the forearm. So again, I like to come in with the underside of the elbow. Place it, chop the wood, and pull back. Whew, yes. Working your way down the arm. All right, we place the elbow, chop the wood, and pull it back. And if you've got tension here, you are going to feel it. You are going to know. We want to take some deep breaths, just like in our yoga practice. And just work slowly and systematically up and down the arm. And you can come back to rolling the forearm, rolling across the top, all the way down to your wrist. Yes, and let's shake it out. All right, so now you're going to be feeling a lot more circulation, a lot more blood flow down the arms and into your hands. I'm going to turn around, show you some massage techniques for the tops of your shoulders. So here we're going to bring both hands up and over, bringing your fingers into that space between your shoulder blades. Very similar to what we did with the shoulders before. You want to hook your fingers into the muscle tissue, then pull forward. And we release and move to a new spot. I'm working my way from low to high, but you're welcome to explore whatever feels good for your own body. We hook the fingers in and pull forward, working your way in and around that space between your shoulder blades. You can work your way all the way up towards the tops of the shoulders. We've already touched on this area a little bit. You can just kind of revisit. And then from here, I like to turn my chin down. Interlace your hands. We're going to use the heel of your hands to squeeze along the back of your neck. So I'm working again from low to high, using the heels of the hands to grip onto either side of my neck. Then I'm squeezing the heels of my hands together to give a nice compression along the back of the neck. And once you feel complete, we will wrap up our practice with one final stretch. I'm going to give you a couple of options here based on your range of motion and flexibility. So your first option is to wrap your arms behind your back, grabbing opposite elbows. If that's your best choice today, we want to grab the elbows, roll your shoulders back, lift up through your spine, and gently curl your heart open. If you'd like to take the more challenging option today, you can practice working towards that reverse namaste, reverse prayer hands, pressing your palms together behind you. Another excellent stretch for the elbows, wrists, and forearms. So if you're taking that reverse prayer hands, we want to stretch the elbows wide, roll your shoulders back, and gently curl your heart open towards the sky. Wherever you are, we gently release. Let your arms relax. If it feels good, you can shake out your hands a little bit. Shake out your shoulders and your head. And just let your hands relax onto your lap and take a little inventory. Notice how you feel. You should be feeling significantly more circulation and more energy flowing in and around your neck, shoulders, arms, and hands. Thanks so much for joining me and following along. I hope that you found yourself some new helpful practices to help you keep things loose. We'll look forward to seeing you next time. Until then, namaste.